This day in sports history.
And that's the end of the first half. As the teams head to the locker room, the Spartans lead the Bulldogs by a score.
You guys stink. Geez, Coach, we're only down a couple of points. No, I mean you guys really smell. You need to hit the showers. And here, I got every one of you new bars of soap from the Sterling Soap Company. Each bar is artisan crafted using natural ingredients and essential oils. They also have shave soaps, colognes, beard balm, and a whole lot more. Now get in there. But Coach, we have another half to play. I don't care. I can't stand to be around you.
A few minutes later.
All right, bring it in tight. You guys are still playing terrible, but you're smelling great out there. Now listen, you're going to need to stock up for the rest of the season. We got a lot of tough games left. So go to sterlingsoap.com after the game. That's STIRLING soap.com. You got that?
Yes, Coach.
Great. Sterlingsoap.com on 3. 1, 2, 3. Sterlingsoap.com.
Hey there, and welcome to This Day in Sports History, a member of the Sports History Network. You can find more podcasts and more info at sportshistorynetwork.com. It's December 12th, and on this day in 1982, it was the famous snowplow game. A relatively recent phrase added to the lexicon is, not all heroes wear capes. Mark Henderson didn't wear a cape. He wore a heavy jacket instead. He didn't fly or even dry a souped-up vehicle. Instead, his mode of transportation since he'd been furloughed from the prison system there in Massachusetts was a John Deere tractor with a brush on the front of it. But to New England Patriots fans on this day in '82, he was Batman, Superman, and the Fuller Brush Man all wrapped up in one. This was the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots in the old Schaefer Stadium. It was 26 degrees in Boston that day with a wind chill of 14, and it had been snowing since 5 a.m. Only 25,761 showed up to watch it live, which was the smallest crowd to watch a game in Foxborough. With 4 minutes 45 seconds left in this one, the score was still 0-0. The Patriots had been driving down the field, though, with Steve Grogan handing it off to Mark Van Egan play after play. They'd driven the ball down to the 16 before the drive stalled out again. They'd been here earlier in the game, but kicker John Smith had missed the field goal. He couldn't find his footing on the snow-covered field, and he slipped a little bit, just enough to send the kick wide. Head coach Ron Meyer sent his kicking team onto the field in the hopes that this time maybe they could get the kick to go through the uprights. A win, and the Patriots could keep their playoff hopes alive in this strike-shortened season. And that's when Meyer spotted Henderson on his lawn tractor. It would eventually be elevated to a snowplow, hence the name, because I guess it wouldn't attract much attention if it was just called the lawn tractor game, now would it? But Meyer ran up to Henderson and simply yelled, "Do something!" Henderson had been doing something all day long. He'd been keeping the sidelines and every 5-yard line clear for most of the day, but he knew what Meyer meant. So he cranked up the old John Deere, and then he saw Holder and backup quarterback Matt Cavanaugh waving at him. So Henderson took off. He lowered the brush on the front end of the tractor, and he cleared a curving swoosh of a path for Smith to put a plant foot down and for Cavanaugh to put the ball down on a newly cleared spot. Dolphins head coach Don Shula was screaming that this was illegal, but the officials did not remember that part of the rule book because there was nothing in the rule book about using a machine to clear a spot for the kicker. At least, not yet. Here's Jay Randolph with the call that day for NBC.
He just drove out onto the field, made the spot. Matt Cavanaugh's going to hold. The ball will be spotted at the 23-yard line. For Smith, the left-footed kicker, activated Friday. A 33-yard attempt to break the scoreless tie. On the way. It's good! John Smith has put the first points on the board. A little help from the brush, and he booted it through.
The Patriots held on to that 3-0 lead for the win, and that helped them backdoor their way into the playoffs. The Dolphins exacted a little bit of revenge, though, in the first round of the playoffs, beating the Patriots 28-13 down in sunny Miami. No snowplow or lawn tractor needed. A year later, the NFL clarified the rules by saying the grounds crew may legally remove snow from the goal lines, sidelines, inlines, and hash marks, but banned the use of snow plows, lawn tractors, and similar vehicles from altering any other part of the playing field to assist the kicker. On this day in 2002, LeBron James made his television debut as a high school senior. Well, he'd had some highlights on ESPN, but on this day, ESPN2 decided to air one of LeBron's high school games live. It was James's St. Vincent St. Mary's Fightin' Irish against Oak Hill Academy, ranked as the best high school team in the country. A little more than 10,000 poured into Cleveland's Convocation Center to watch this one live, including Dickie V and Bill Walton sitting courtside as the analysts for the broadcast, and James simply put on a show.
Stolen by Brandon Weems.
He's the truth. But a lot of guys can dunk. You know that. Can you do that, Bill, when you were a kid?
Look at the way LeBron James floats over the court. Look at the way he keeps his arms up. He snatches that.
That's big time.
His eyes never drop to the floor.
Look at his vision. Great vision all the time. Great vision.
The ball's an extension of his mind.
He knew he had that one, too.
Then it's chest pumping time. He knows he's good. He's got it. I'll tell you right now, my friends, he's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. There's no doubt about him.
And just as Dickie V said, he was the truth, and he proved that the hype was real. He scored 31, grabbed 13 rebounds, and dished 6 assists. LeBron's Fightin' Irish fought back from an early deficit to win easily 65-45. He was obviously already on a path to the NBA, but this game introduced him to the world. He wasn't the first player to skip college and go directly to the pros, but he certainly lived up to all the expectations after being selected with the top pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers. He went on to win Rookie of the Year honors, and now in his 22nd year in the league is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history and closing in on 30,000 points. On this day in 1978, Boston player-coach Dave Cowens had an interesting night that ended up being cut a little bit short. Cowens had been with the Celtics as a player since 1970 when he won Rookie of the Year honors. Now here in the 78 season, he had taken over the added duties of head coach after Satch Sanders was canned after a 2-12 start. As player and coach, the Celtics had improved, winning 7 in the 13 that he'd coached so far. On this night, they were on the road at Houston, and Cowens inserted himself into the starting lineup. He only played 14 minutes in this one, but he managed to pick up 6 fouls in that short amount of time, and so he was done for the evening as a player. But after trailing by 13 at half, Boston was trying to put together a comeback in the fourth quarter. And then a call went against the Celtics, and Cowens was off the bench screaming at the refs. After saying just the wrong thing, he was ejected. Now, I can't imagine that this was the only time that a player-coach fouled out and then was tossed as a coach, but I can at least say it was rare, even more so now that the player-coach thing seems to be a thing from a long-ago era. Boston could not complete the comeback and lost to the Rockets 112-105. This episode is brought to you by Firefly Books. From frozen ponds in small-town Canada to packed arenas under bright lights, hockey's journey is 150 years strong. Hockey Hall of Fame Timeline of the Game takes you through it all. 8 defining eras, hundreds of rare photos, legendary names, game-changing moments. Created with the Hockey Hall of Fame, this book is a visual time capsule of the sport's most iconic chapters. Whether you're a die-hard fan or looking for the ultimate holiday gift, Timeline of the Game is a must-have for every hockey lover. Pick up your copy today at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or bookshop.org. On this day in 1965, Chicago Bears running back Gale Sayers scored 6 touchdowns in a variety of ways, equaling one NFL record while setting another that still stands. Playing the San Francisco 49ers at Chicago's Wrigley Field, the turf was a sodden, muddy mess, but it did not slow down Sayers that day. Bears tight end and future coach Mike Ditka said later, it was a muddy field for everybody but Gale Sayers. And in fact, Not much slowed him down that year. Sayers was a rookie that season, but he played like a veteran from the start. On this day, Sayers scored on an 80-yard pass play, he ran for 4 scores, and then he took a punt back 85 yards for his final touchdown.
That's Gale Sayers on the 15-yard line. You can see him breaking away from that tackler. And watch the moves here. The quick move of Gale Sayers. He's off 85 yards for a touchdown, looking over his shoulder. His 6th touchdown of the game. He has just broken the National Football League touchdown record.
That capped a 61-20 rout of the 49ers. Now, check out these stats. Sayers had a total of only 9 carries, but he made the most of those, rolling up 113 yards on the ground. He added 2 catches for an even more impressive 89 yards. His 6 touchdowns that day equaled the mark set by Ernie Nevers in 1929 and equaled by Dub Jones in 1951. That trio stood alone as the only players to accomplish that until New Orleans' Alvin Kamara scored 6 touchdowns on Christmas Day 2020. Now, for the year, Sayers scored 22 touchdowns, which is still the record for touchdowns for a rookie. He would go on to win Rookie of the Year in 1965. As for Sayers' career, due to injuries, he unfortunately only played 6 seasons in the NFL, but his impact was so great, he became the youngest player ever inducted into the Football Hall of Fame at the age of 34. Also on this day in sports history, in 1968, Arthur Ashe took over the top spot in the men's tennis rankings, becoming the first African American to be the #1 player in the world. And in 1959, Australian Formula One driver Jack Brabham was leading the final race of the season at the U.S. Grand Prix, but he ran out of fuel on the last lap. He had a large enough lead that he was able to hop out of his car and push it across the line for a 4th-place finish in the race and secure the championship title. It was a race of attrition anyway. Only 7 cars finished out of 22 that started. And in 2022, college football coach and truly a one-of-a-kind human being Mike Leach passed away. Leach never played college football but had success as a coach at Texas Tech, Washington State, and Mississippi State. And he was one of the all-time great interviewees. Now, I've talked about him a couple of times on this podcast, including the fake play script that he pulled on Texas in one version of the Red River rivalry game when he was an assistant at Oklahoma. After last year's college football playoff disaster, he probably would be a little happier with this year's 12-team playoff, but it still wouldn't be enough. Back in 2017, when he was at Washington State, he spoke of the ridiculousness of the previous 4-team playoff that is classic Mike Leach, and he advocated for a minimum of 16 teams, but 32 would be even better. And if you haven't watched it, it is worth a look and a listen. And time now for today's Nothing to Do with Sports Fun Fact. A cryptic note found near the scene of a 1983 murder victim in Hialeah, Florida, perplexed investigators for weeks until they requested help from the public. After the note was printed in the local newspaper, police learned that the note was not connected to the murder at all. Instead, the note had been part of a local church's youth group murder mystery game, but a rainstorm the night of the event canceled those festivities, but the clues were never collected. The death was later attributed to gang violence. That's all I've got for you today. Thanks for listening, and I'll have more tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.